Autoweb. Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Autoweb.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, this your man, L.A. Williams, the blind master, up in here on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, just chilling, just kicking it, doing what we do. But I got a special guest with me today, man. I met this gentleman. Actually, he reached out to me because he's a Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast listener. And I think I was away. I don't remember where I was at the moment. I remember I was in the car and I got this phone call. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? And man, this guy just so impressive. Just, such a cool guy to hang around. He is the GSM, right? The GSM of which dealership is it? Tell him.
Garlyn, Shelton, Buick GMC.
Buick GMC store, and you guys are in Texas, man. And so I'm pumped up, fired up, super excited to introduce to everyone my main man, Mr. Ernesto Servan. What's going on, brother?
Oh my God, I am so glad to be alive, sir. I'm happy and excited for the opportunity and to share my life and my experience in the car business.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So, man, listen, your story is so awesome. And man, some of the stuff that you were sharing with me about your brother and just coming up and everything like that. So tell us where your story began, like even because, you're a GSM of a dealership now, but, how did you even get before the car business came in about what was going on in life? And I hope folks can hear, the slight accent, right? You got that amazing, beautiful Spanish accent. So tell us, where'd you originate from?
Yes, sir. Everything started in 1985 in Lima, Peru. My dad passed away. It was a month before my 6th birthday.
Okay.
I remember. And a year after that, my second oldest brother, he was in military training, and we received a phone call that a grenade had exploded on his right hand, lost his right hand and his vision. And it was just a tragedy for the family after losing my dad. We have a family of 8, 4 brothers, 4 sisters, and it was just my mom. So we pretty much grew up in the streets in Peru and Lima. With friends playing soccer, and I was always hanging out with my buddies from back home. And I remember my mom was selling lollipops, and a bunch of neighbors were selling lollipops in their garage, and we weren't getting too many clients, and we needed to help mom. So one of my friends said, "Man, let's take some of these lollipops to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
We can help mom with some extra money.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned to prospect. So we went back and grabbed some lollipops from the garage, took it to the beach, sold them all, came back, picked up some more, and kept going, Then wintertime came in and says, "Man, nobody's really buying lollipops, Can't help mom like this." One of my friends said, "Well, we can all together buy a bag of candy and sell them as an individual in the bus,
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the bus, started selling candy, and we were making very little money. Then one of my buddies, he was a pretty good singer, so he goes, "Man, well, I guess I can sing, So while we're at the beach, we got some of them seashells. Once you turn them around, there's some groove on the other side. So I decided to play them while my friend was singing, and we realized that we started getting more tips and making more money because we started building value on the same candy that we were selling just a month before. So, at 5, 6 years old, I didn't realize, but I was already a salesman.
Yeah.
Trying to help the family, but most importantly, thinking outside the box and building value, prospecting without knowing anything. In 1992, I came to the States with my brother, Carlos. It's my brother that had that accident with the grenade.
Mm-hmm.
They sent them here to the United States because they told him that in Peru, they didn't have the technology. He had he had a small chance for him to see again. And they sent him to a bunch of hospitals in Virginia. And at the very end, they told him, look, we can't help you anymore. You're going to lose your eyes. You're not going to be able to see again. But we can send you to Albuquerque, New Mexico. They got a good rehab center. You're going to be able to learn how to be independent again. And he did that. He took that opportunity, got a scholarship to go to the University of New Mexico. When he was going to school, our paperwork to come to the States came in. So we came to the United States and lived with my brother and his wife in a one-bedroom studio apartment where me and my little sister, I remember my little sister had to sleep in the sofa and I had to sleep in the floor on the sleeping bag. I remember taking us to Walmart, my brother, and I thought Walmart was like Disneyland. You know, we had bikes hanging off the roof, and I said, man, this is amazing, you know? And anyways, with one hand and no eyes, he showed me, man, this is how you got to roll your sleeping bag because it's got to fit in this one closet. We only have one closet for all four of us. So that sleeping bag got to be so tight, you know, that it's got to fit in there. So he showed me with one hand how to roll it and make sure it's tight. So every night I remember he will go to college. He will go to work. He will go to college. He'll come back. And back in the days, you know, they had typewriters. And as a blind person, he had to record his classes in cassette players. So I remember at 1, 2 in the morning, he will come to the living room where we were sleeping at. And all I heard was the rewind button, you know, because he wanted to rewind to memorize it again, you know. And he couldn't take notes fast enough being blind. So he had to use the cassette player. So all I heard at 1, 2 in the morning, every day, every night, you know, from the living room and the floor is listening to my brother study, you know. 5, 6 in the morning, we'll wake up and he will literally take me out running. I said, how in the world are you going to take me out running? You know, he's like, I'm going to show you. So anyways, I grabbed his cane from the front part of it. He grabbed the back part of the cane and he said, from here to the end of the bridge, it's about 3 miles. And then when we went back, it's another 3 miles. So we're going to run 6 miles every morning. I said, yes, sir. So at a young age, I learned to wake up early in the morning and that you have to sacrifice a lot to be successful. He ended up getting a master's degree in international business, master's degree in criminal law, and a PhD in law, and graduated honors, which was amazing.
That is amazing. I'm telling you, that's
amazing. To watch him, you know, through all of it, you know.
Yeah.
Growing up in the United States at a young age, being with a blind person with no right hand, you know, not only because we couldn't speak English, but I had to take him to different locations, and you see a bunch of kids, you know, being scared of him. That cane can only fill the bottom part of the floor. You can't fill the top part of the floor. So when we walked to the grocery store, I remember some of the brushes on the tree will hit his face, you know. And I realized that now I have to tell him, hey, there's a tree coming, you know. So you have to go around. Yep. So we went through a lot growing up with, you know, in Peru with my father and my brother. In 1997, I graduated high school, joined the military. My mom, of course, cried because of what happened to my brother.
Right.
He was scared of what happened to me.
Yeah.
Joined the military. They sent me to Fort Hood, Texas. You know, I knew one thing and one thing only is yes, sir, no, sir. You know, that's one thing that I knew how to do, and I knew how to do it real good. You tell me to do something, I'm going to do it real quick. So 4 years passed by, and I was getting out of the military. I started getting a second job in the mall selling cell phones. And I realized that I was a good salesman. I was making more money part-time selling cell phones than the military. I will wake up at 6 in the morning to do PT. I will get out of the military at 5. I will have my clothes in the car. I worked at in the mall, which is only 5 minutes away, but I didn't want to waste any time. So I will change in the car from my military uniform. So I didn't waste any time to sell more cell phones. So I will work Monday to Friday from like 5:30 to 10 o'clock at night, and then Saturday and Sunday all day, just to make some extra money. The market with the cell phone got very competitive, and I was getting out of the military, and I knew that I either wanted to sell houses or wanted to sell cars. I met somebody at the mall, and he said, "Man, I'm about to go work at this dealership, and you should come with me. You're a pretty good salesman." And I said, "Yes." I said, I'm getting out of the military, and I'm making extra money selling cell phones, but I need something to compensate both incomes.
Right.
He said, "Well, come with me." I started selling cars in 2001, June. And I got hired. And I remember the manager had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend was a top sales lady. Yeah. She was selling, it was a little trailer. We didn't have a franchise store. It was a used car for one of our main store, which was Mazda, Kia, Jeep, and Chrysler.
Okay.
So it was a little trailer. I mean, selling 15 cars, you were the man.
Right.
20 cars, you're a superstar. This is 21 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, I watched the manager come in early. Well, back in the day, if you come in early, you will put your name and you were first to get the customer. You were first up.
Oh, okay.
You come in second, you put your name. So he will always come early because he will have to open the store. Mm-hmm. And his girlfriend will be the first one, to be up. So he will get the first up. He had to stay to close the store because he had to work all the deals. Mm-hmm. And his girlfriend will stay. So she was the last person to stay. He wouldn't take any lunches. He will bring his own lunch. So she will stay and take take lunch there at the dealership. So she never really left for lunch. So what I did, I like to observe and watch my surroundings and do better. Mm-hmm. One thing that I learned about my brother is that if he can do it with no right hand and no eyes, I can do more.
Yeah.
So I watched, and I said, you know what? I gotta beat him. So I started coming in early. I would beat them, and I will get the first stop. I will stay later. I will get the last stop. I started bringing my lunch with me. And I wouldn't take lunch while everybody was getting lunch. I will get those customers. I didn't take a day off for the first 2 years in the car business.
Wow.
My manager told me, he said, Ernesto, he said, you know how lawyers and doctors make $100,000 a year and they have to go to school for 8-10 years? I said, I know. My brother did it and I watched them. And yes, I know. He says, well, if you sacrifice your first 2 years in the car business, you will make over $100,000. And that stuck in my mind, until today, because I took it to heart. And even on Sundays, I will go to the dealership here in Texas. Most of the dealerships are closed on Sundays because you can only be open one day during the weekend. Mm-hmm. And I remember coming on Sundays and passing business cards and setting up appointments. I remember all the training that we did. My finance manager did all the training. He was my first role model. His name is Terry Cameron, and he actually has a podcast as well. And he was doing this. Was that?
So I'm gonna have to check him out.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. I owe him a lot. So he trained us. And everything that he trained, he always said, "Don't practice with your customers. Practice at home so that when you get with your customer, you can be good."
I just finished telling somebody that earlier today.
Oh, really? So, yeah. So I remember, that stuck into my head, and I'm like, yeah, because I can practice 1,000 times with the customer, and in the middle of all of it, if I mess up because I'm not good, I'm gonna stop doing it, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But if I practice 1,000 times every day, by the time I get a customer, I'm gonna be good. Mm-hmm. So English, being my second language, LA, Sometimes, words can be a little difficult. So I had to, rewrite it again, study again, ask questions. Um, and I remember practicing and practicing and practicing. Back in the day, you had to practice your tone, your body language. You had to practice in front of the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
just to see yourself, your handshake. I mean, I practiced everything outside the dealership, so that I knew that when I was in front of the customer, I was ready.
Mm.
That's one thing that I knew, is that I practiced so much. I couldn't wait to shake somebody's hand. I was so excited to get an objection,
No,
because I
obviously, you
knew,
was ready. You
yeah,
was
I
ready.
knew. I said, just give me another one. Just give me another one. Come on. I already
Exactly.
practiced that one 1,000 times,
I love it,
I'm
man.
like,
So tell
oh,
the people real quick, how many cars did you sell when you started selling cars? You got all your practice stuff like that. How many cars did you start selling?
So the first month in the car business, the top salesperson was averaging 16, 17 cars.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else was averaging about 14, 12. Back in the day, it was pretty good in the little trailer. My first month, and I was training for the first week, I sold 17 cars.
Dang, in 3 weeks.
Um, in 3 weeks, yeah. The sales manager told me, if you can be my girlfriend this month, I will buy you, because I complimented him on his pen.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was, but it was Mont Blanc. And he says, man, this is a $500 pen, but if you beat her, I'll buy you one.
Nice.
So that was a motivation for me, I
Right.
was like, man, I'm gonna beat her. So anyways, I remember that I worked real hard to get it, which I lost it 6 months after that. But I remember that I beat her by half a car,
Wow.
And then I remember that if I did 17 cars with not knowing anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's no way that I can sell less cars than that. That's
Yep.
one thing that I knew, is that, you know what? I said, I didn't know anything this first month.
Mm-hmm.
All I have to do is do the same and learn one more thing, right? So I kept learning. I keep reading books. I keep asking questions. I keep going to seminars. We were real big into Joe Verdi back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I will replay the cassettes, the videos.
Yeah.
VCRs back in the
VCRs,
day.
yeah.
I would read the books. Yep,
You're
yep,
taking
yep.
them back. You're taking them back.
Yeah, I will read the books, yes. Over and over again, to translate it in my mind from English to Spanish, and almost have to do it twice at times.
Mm-hmm.
Ask questions. What does this mean? In a sentence, and I just knew that I was not going to sell any cars, because if I did this, not know anything, there's no way that I can do less. So
Yeah.
I averaged 20 to 25 cars every month. I became the top salesman every month for the first, I want to say, 2-3 years.
Nice. So talk about, because this is the thing. So you were selling cell phones, right? You were in the military, and you was making however much money. How much was it? Just enough? Was it the same money? Was it more money? If it was more, tell them how much more.
Oh my goodness, I still remember my first check was $7,836
Mm.
in 3 weeks. Yeah.
$7,836, and you said 3 weeks.
Yep.
Woo.
So, this is 21 years ago. That was good money.
That's the good money today.
And that's it. Yeah, oh yeah. And as a young soldier, you don't make very much. So I pretty much, with the cell phone and the military combined, I pretty much doubled my income in 30 days. So yeah. So I knew one thing: I was not going to do anything else. I fell in love with the car business. I was real passionate about the science behind it. There's so much science behind the car business, and I just loved every angle from it. Between the phone calls, prospecting, coming in early, staying in late, sacrificing, follow up, moving the lot around, positive attitude. I mean, you name it, every single aspect.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be an expert at it, and practicing, of course, outside the dealership, so that I can be good at it. So after 2-3 years, that we hired an internet manager. Internet was just getting big, where people were actually going online and getting leads. So this guy came in and talked to the owner and said, "Hey, I need a partner. I need somebody that can make the phone calls and sell the cars. I'll deal the I'll make sure that I do all the leads and I can put all the deals together, but I need somebody." And he said, of course, was the top salesman. And he said, "Okay, I'll get Ernesto." So I became, after 2-3 years, I became, I guess, internet partner with my buddy. And we started selling about 50, 60 cars a month together. He will, do all the prospecting online. He will answer all the leads, and I will be on the phone, of course, all excited, nothing negative, always positive.
Yeah.
Setting up the appointment. When they got in there, we'll close them, sell them. Next, we'll have 3-4 appointments a day, and we'll just close them. I mean, we got so busy that we had to hire an assistant. And my finance manager got an opportunity to be a GM at a different store. And he called me, and that's where I got my first manager's job. He said, "Ernesto, you were my top salesman. I need you here at the store." So I became a manager a year after that.
That's tight.
So
Hold on, wait. So we gotta dive into some of this, man, because you're absolutely killing it. So how much are you making? You selling 50, 60 cars a month on the internet? This brand new internet thing that would never work, right? As a lot of people will say, even today, I'll never buy a car on the internet. You can't sell cars on the internet. I don't know what these people are doing, right? You selling 50, 60 cars a month. What was it like per copy? I mean, I'm trying to see how much were you making this, because it's just you and a partner, and you guys are doing this, and it sounds like kind of like Sean. He was selling 110 cars a month between he and 2 other people. So you guys are doing 60 cars a month with 2 people. How much is it like per copy that you guys are getting gross?
Well, we were averaging $2,000 on the front and about almost $2,000 in the back. So it was almost $5,000 a copy. I think that was pretty good.
So I'm saying, even if you just calculate $4,000 a copy, look, check this out. 4 times 60, right? 60 cars. You know what I'm saying? 200 and what's that? $40,000 a month, right? That's I'm telling you, this is good stuff. You know what I'm saying? That you're generating.
Now, remember, this is about 17, 18 years ago. They didn't have cars.com. They didn't have all the stuff was not even around.
Almost $3 million a year. You guys are doing for
this is just emailing. We had to create our own graphics.
You got faxing leads.
Stuff. Oh, it was a hustle. It was definitely a hustle.
Right. So as a salesperson, what are the keys? Like, all right, because you're so crazy. You mentioned you just rolled off of them, right? But if you had to pick 3, what are the 3 keys to succeed as a salesperson?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Attention auto dealers, you need an opportunity to do business. AutoWeb is one of the largest suppliers of high quality leads. I mean, high quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. AutoWeb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and/or zip codes, and as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need AutoWeb.
Definitely. The first thing is always a positive attitude.
Okay. And that's a huge change for a lot of people, right? Because we know most salespeople, let's be real about it, right? Most people got these negative attitudes, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? And they don't understand the value of positive attitude. Break down to them the value of a positive attitude.
Well, like I mentioned in my past, coming from a third world country, Peru, dealing with terrorist attacks and cartels back in the 80s. And coming to the States and growing up with a blind brother and no right hand, and getting the opportunity to go to college and being successful, being grateful to even wake up and to look and to be able to have your eyes and both feet and both hands. People take it for granted. How the first thing is being grateful when you wake up. It's people don't understand. They complain about the AC being too cold, the heater being too hot. Oh, we gotta move the cars around. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. It doesn't hurt me, but I'm so. I guess I'm workaholic. I'm so passionate about the car business. I'm like, man, you got to get excited about having a job.
Yeah.
There's people that wish had your job, an office with a computer and AC and internet. Come on now,
Yeah. People don't appreciate good stuff, man. I'm telling you.
So being positive, I guess before you become positive, you got to be grateful, I think, for just be able to wake up in the morning and breathe the air, being alive, and be able to have all your senses so you can go to work.
That's beautiful.
The second thing will be work ethics. I think I told my recent boss, when he hired me, at the store where I'm at now, I remember him asking me, he said, Ernesto, what should we hire you? And I said, because I can outwork anyone in this building, including you. Ooh, and I remember he looked at me and he didn't believe me. Of course, a couple months after that, he pulled me to the side and said, I believe you.
You gotta love it, man. Because of
work ethics. Work ethics is probably the second one, and the third one for me will probably be staying humble. Never forget. You're gonna make a lot of money in this business. This business changed my life in 30 days, and I made more money every month and every year. I wanted to keep growing. I always want to reach to the next level. Every time I accomplish the goal, I want to set up another one. And I want to do more and more. It doesn't matter how much money you make, what title you have. I think you should always be staying humble. I think staying humble. It's a good
It's just good karma. It's just good everything. It's nothing, being humble doesn't, it doesn't mean that you're not, that you don't promote, and doesn't mean none of that type of stuff. But what it does mean is that, when you're being humble, man, everything comes to you a lot smoother, right, than it does when you all boastful. Because that's what causes all the jagged edges, is when you want to be all boastful and blah, blah, blah. Man, you better just chill and let it glide to you. They call it the law of attraction. So that's beautiful stuff, man. All right, so we talked about the salesperson, and you said you got your job as a manager. So I want you to explain to people, what that was like being a manager and how a manager makes money and the differences. Because so many people think, okay, just because I'm a good salesperson that I'll make a good manager. And while that probably was the case, I seemed like that was the case with you, it's not always the case, because people don't understand that there's a different perspective you got to have as a manager. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, my first job as a manager, so there was a manager that I was fixing to replace, but he didn't know that he was gonna get demoted. So, and I couldn't say anything. So the owner hired me and said, "Hey, you're gonna take over his team, but he doesn't know. He's gonna be the internet manager. So for 30 days, I want you to help close deals, and I'm going to teach you how to price cars, and I'm going to spend some time with you," which I really appreciate. That he will take me to breakfast and lunch and show me the roots of how to be a manager. He will take me outside and price cars, and in between all of it, I will help close deals. Just like a salesman, I will go and getting to know the team, getting to know the dealership before I took over the team, and I realized that he had hired just a bunch of lazy people, and most of them were really not any good. And
you can't fix. Can you fix lazy? I don't think you can fix lazy.
Yeah. So I would close deals if finance needed help. I would close finance deals too. I was just excited, man. I'm always excited about opportunity. You give me an opportunity to close the deal, I'm gonna do it. You give me an opportunity to close the deal in finance, I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna do it with excitement. I'm not gonna say that I'm busy, that I'm too good or anything like that. I'm gonna do it because I'm just that passionate about the business. So after a month, of course, I took over the team and had to fire half of the sales staff. And I started recruiting some salespeople that knew me in the area. And one thing that I did, I remember this is pretty awesome. I started calling different dealerships and I asked for the top salesman. I said, hey, who's your top salesman? I said, I need you to transfer to them so they'll pick up. And I remember telling them, I said, hey, I'm a new manager here at this dealership and I heard you're the top salesperson. Like, yeah. I said, look, I'm looking for someone just like you, right? Just like you. And if you know somebody, please, here's my cell phone, give me a call. And I'm going to tell you, I hire half of them. They all call me.
Guerrilla tactics.
Yeah. And I hired half of them. I had a very, very good crew. We had about 6 managers, and I became the top sales manager. I started selling 120 cars, just my sales team every month. And we had, of course, it was 6 of us for the whole auto group. I'm very competitive, so I don't like losing. I always like to go first. If somebody beats me one time, I get upset and I'm going to work harder.
Yeah.
So I always stay on top as a sales manager, but I always trained. That was one thing about my sales stuff. I always trained every day. Every day. Always trained. Why? Because, like the military, if you got a trained soldier, you go to war, you can go to battle with them, right? Because they're trained, right? It's the same thing as your sales force. Is your sales force ready to go to battle with you, right? Are they as good as you? And if they're not, then you need to get them ready before they even talk to a customer. So training to me became a good habit. Every morning I'll have a training meeting, and I make sure that they were all trained before they even talk to a customer. So that helped me out a lot as a sales manager. Pay it forward, what my manager did to me. I wanted to make sure that I did to all the sales stuff, because I couldn't sell 100 cars by myself, but I needed to make sure that together we can do it. So that was a good memory, I guess.
Yeah, because this is before the Ali Raiders and the Cody Carters selling 100, 150 cars, them and a person, man.
Oh, yeah.
This is years ago. But, man, I love the fact that you assembled a Justice League type of team. You know what I'm saying? You put together the Avengers, right? You found the best of the best. Yeah. And then you like, listen, we just going to rock out. So I love that, man. So talk about this, because you got some processes. You were telling me, I think it was yesterday we were talking, and you were telling me about some processes, because I want to say, like, what do you train on? But obviously it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you're training on, if you have any systems in place, any process in place, you got to be training on that type of stuff. So tell me about those, the processes you told me about you had in place.
So I guess everything started when I became a GSM. This is about 13 years ago. Okay. I took the first GSM job at a Subaru store. And I remember talking to the GM, and I said, hey, you have a training room? And he said, no. And I said, well, I can't work here. He said, what do you mean? I said, these people need to be trained, And he says, well, the owner has a big office with the big table and a bunch of chairs. We can ask him. I said, well, when you ask him, you let me know and I can start working. So sure enough, they asked. I remember he had to wait outside his office until I was done with my meetings, which is so real bad anymore. Oh, yeah, he will have to wait outside because sometimes you get so excited. So I guess the very first thing about process is accountability. is making sure that everybody shows up to work on time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have a meeting in the morning to hold your people accountable, to make sure that everybody's on time, dressed up with a good attitude, and you're ready to pump them up and teach them something every day, the rest of the day is not going to be as successful as you want it to be. So I think that will be the first thing that I implemented it at the dealership, is having a morning meeting, because they didn't have any. The second thing that we did at the dealership was making phone calls. Everybody needed to make 2 appointments before they went home. And if they didn't make it by a certain time, they will come to my office, and instead of yelling at them, or instead of giving them an attitude, I will help them make the appointment. I think that plays a big factor. A lot of managers, they tell their salespeople, and they get upset at them, and they talk down to them, but they realize that you're hurting them. So we're in the business. So if you want to be a good leader, you got to be a good coach, and you got to coach your people and show them how to do it instead of just telling them how to do it. Right? That's a big difference. Yeah. Like moving the lot, you just don't tell them go move the lot. You go out there, right? And you move the lot with them. Mm-hmm. Same thing going to war. Are you going to be hiding in the back while your soldiers are fighting, or are you going to be on the front leading them, right?
Yeah.
So always coaching them, always talking to them. I always had good sales force that I trained, and I created different processes. Between trade-ins, making sure that we rotate those used cars quickly, appointments, follow-ups, prospecting. We set up different processes, but the very, very big one right now for us on my new store is APB, Automotive Profit Builders. And what they're real big on is counting your traffic. If you don't know how many people walked into your showroom floor, how do you know what you're missing, right? Mm-hmm. Salespeople gonna lie to you. Oh, he was just in service. Oh no, he was here yesterday. Oh no, he was just looking. And a lot of managers don't count the traffic, right? Mm-hmm. So if you don't count the traffic and you don't count your percentage of demonstration, presentations, and write-ups, how do you know how to improve, right? So what we're real big on that is making sure that every customer that's looking at a car, don't matter if it's service, don't matter if the guy came in last week, that we log that customer into traffic, and that salesperson is accountable for it. Because if that customer that was just looking or that was just in service comes back next month and wants to buy a car, and another salesperson sells it, he's gonna want half of the deal, right? Uh-huh. So, Oh yeah. So we have a real big process about counting the traffic. I think it's very big. You have to know how many people you're getting every day, no matter what. And then your presentation, your demonstration, and your write-up and your closing ratio. So that you know how to improve in what areas and which salesperson needs improvement, right? Some salesperson might need improvement on walk around. Some salesperson might be an improvement on getting people inside the door. Some salespeople need help on closing the deal, right? You're never going to know if you don't measure everything. So we're real big on that right now.
I love it, man. You are definitely killing it. You've given people like everything that you're saying is so crazy. All over my career, there's different things that we've been, teaching on all the time. And you're just really giving us a good synopsis. Like you're shutting the doggone thing down with this joint, man. So you talked about some of the mistakes. You talked about some mistakes that managers make. Always just want to yell at people. They want to do this. They want to do that. What are some of the mistakes that you see? And you can give me maybe one or two from a salesperson, and then outside of that, one or two from management, outside of one that you already named. So that way I can get a total of 3. So what are the biggest mistakes you watch salespeople make?
Oh man, getting too smart for the game.
Mm.
That happened to me. That happened to me one month. I always sold 20, 25 cars as a salesperson, and there was a month that on the 15th of the month, I had three cars out. You know,
Ooh. How'd you handle that?
yeah, yeah, and I got real humble, and I went to my manager and I said, Terry, I said, I need you to tell me what I'm doing wrong, you know. And he told me, he says, but I left you alone. I mean, you sell 20, 25 cars, you're the top salesman, I pretty much left you alone, but you're becoming too smart for the game, and you need to go back to the basics.
Mm.
And you're not making sure that everybody goes on the test drive. You're not doing your hood and trunk, your butterfly like you used to. You're not you're not getting excited about with all your customers. And so anyways, going back to the basics, like any professional, they practice the basics all the time to become real good. And that's what I did. I made a bigger mistake, and I got too smart for the game that month. And I remember the 15th of the month, I had three cars. I sold 17 cars because I wanted to make sure that I didn't do less than 20 cars. I sold 17 cars in 2 weeks just by going back to the basics.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so many people, I've actually had people complain because, I'm training them stuff and they're like, I mean, come on, LA, this stuff is basic. And I'm like, that's exactly what you need.
Yeah, it's fundamental, like building a house. If you don't have a good foundation, you're building a house that's going to break.
Mm.
And if you don't master now, this is not just doing the basics, but mastering the basics.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference about knowing and doing the basics and mastering the basics.
Yeah.
I mean, master the meeting, master the handshake, master the eye contact, master your body language, your tonality, master the hood and trunk, master the demo, the building report, the service drive, even master how to give them something to drink, master getting the commitment from the customer, master the follow-up, the phone calls. I mean, there's so much that is just basic, but it's not just the basic. It's how much work are you putting to be a master at each department. It takes some work. And a lot of people take it for granted that basic is not just the basics,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why they don't call me the blind phone basic. They call me the blind phone master. You are absolutely on it, my man. This is so good, man. I'm telling you, I'm so enjoying myself. And so I'm confident that the listeners are going to really enjoy this too, man. Tell me, what do you love about this automotive industry? I know, you said you're committed because it's like, man, I changed my life in 30 days. I might even I might even make that the title of the daggum podcast. But just tell me, outside of that, what do you love about the automotive industry? Tell me.
Well, the biggest thing is changing people's life the way it did to me,
Mm-hmm.
On both the customers and the salespeople. When you hire a salesperson and comes in a car that's barely running, and then, after 3-6 months, they're making so much good money that they're actually driving a nice car.
Mm.
After a couple of years, they're buying a bigger house. They're dressing better. Their family have more money. The ability to see the smile on their faces in the transition from where they came from to now. And the same thing with the customers. I mean, customers come in, because it's a big event for them. Either they just had a baby, they need a bigger car, they get a promotion, so they need a nicer car, right? There's big events that happens in the car business for customers, and being part of it, to me, shaking their hand, doing a video with them, taking pictures with them, and become part of that event. We forget sometimes because we do it every day, but customers only do this every 2-3 years. It's a big event for them.
Yeah.
And being part of it with the customer and the salesperson, right? To me, that's what I'm in this business. I just love how this business can change people's life every day.
Yeah, man. One of the things that I do to kind of test a person's mindset, right? I'll just ask them, do people buy cars every day? Because people are like, people buy cars every day. I say, do people buy cars every day? And if they say, yeah, I'm like, people don't buy cars every day. We sell cars every day, but people buy cars every 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 years. Still, Autos Trader says that it takes people that long, right, to upgrade their vehicle. So, man, I'm saying, as you said, it's a daggum big event, and we got to treat it as such. So, man, this is absolutely phenomenal. All right, man, listen, you're a wealth of knowledge. You literally are, man. I mean, from everything that you shared, and you talked a little bit about your brother. I know your brother has a book. Is it coming out? Is it out? What's going on with your brother's book? Tell me about that.
So my brother wrote a book in Spanish in Peru, which we all went to support him. Yeah, it was the second most sell-out book in South America, other than Pablo Escobar's son. He wrote a book, so
right.
And so he is now translated into English, and it's fixing to publish it. He's just looking for somebody to help him publish it, and it's the title. It's going to be Learning How to Run Again. Because besides all of it, having no right hand, having no eyes, all the obstacles that are in life, he always says, look, I might be blind, but I'm not stupid, right?
That's it. I love it.
Growing up, I tried, to move around, so he does.
He tried to sneak out.
And I remember, he says, "Hey, you don't think I can hear you, man?"
Oh my God! Tell me how many times people try to whisper around me. I'm like, I am blind. Like,
yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. So, he's actually fixing to publish his book, which is amazing. Everything that he has accomplished. He is now the director for the Commission for the Blind for the state of Nebraska. And, watching them succeed, through college and through life. And he's a role model for me. And now writing his second book, right? The first one's in Spanish and now into English, and be able to be part of it and live with him that made me a better man and appreciate opportunity is what I call the car business. There's a lot of opportunity that other people take it for granted. I think it's gonna help a lot of people. And his book, if it gets published pretty soon, his name is Carlos, same last name as me, Servan. Should be coming out at the end of the year. If everything goes
all right,
well.
yeah, man, we all gonna make sure we support as the Millionaire Car Salesman. You know what I'm saying? Whatever podcast is coming out at that moment, I'm gonna make sure I re-shout it out, put the show notes, put the links to it in the show notes, all of that good stuff. We might even have him on a version of Against All Odds. I mean, we're gonna do something, man, because I'm telling you, I am so pumped up, fired up, super excited, and I really appreciate you, man. The friendship that you and I have been building, since you made the phone call, man, it was one of those calls that, you get so many spam calls and stuff like that. I didn't know what kind of call it was. And so I remember taking the call and we just clicked like instantly, and we just talking on the phone for a while. And I'm like, listen, man, we got to get on this podcast because other folks got to hear this stuff. So I'm appreciating building this friendship, man. I'm telling you, you are meaning more to me than I can even express to you, and I want to let you know how much I appreciate you live here on the air. So give the folks a quick closing statement, man. What would you say? You got the Millionaire Car Salesman listening, all of their friends and family, everybody's getting ready to, because they're gonna be sharing this doggone thing. They're subscribed, but they're gonna have, everybody else subscribe because you, right? And what do you want to say to them? What's the last thing that you want to share?
I think I want to tell all the salespeople, all the managers out there that be thankful, for the opportunity that the car business has provided for you and your family. I know for my family and my kids, we sacrifice a lot. Sometimes we sacrifice birthdays, events. Here in Texas, most of our birthdays for my kids are on Sundays because, I work every day. We sacrifice a lot of events that my wife has to go and I can't go because, I got to be at work. And we do a lot of sacrifices because of the opportunity that this business was giving us. But it's very, very, very good opportunity that this business gives you. And because of it, my friends and my family respect me because of the work ethics that I have for the business. Respect the business and don't treat it as a job. This is a profession. Become a professional in the car business. This is for everyone. Salespeople, managers, become a professional and don't stop learning. This business has changed. And if you don't keep up with it, you are going to be left behind. Keep learning, just like lawyers and laws changes every day, just like doctors and there's new medicines that they have to keep up with. We have to keep up with it because we are professionals, and I treat myself and my family does and my friends do. Everyone knows that I'm a professional in the car business, and I think we all need to do that. We need to treat this as a profession and not just as a job. And I just hope that everyone is successful and everyone has a good attitude behind it.
Absolutely, man. So listen, y'all heard it here first, man. I always say that you are the average of the 5 people who you spend the most time with. And man, I'm telling you, if you don't feel like you got some value out of this, you need to go check your daggone pulse, right? You need to go see your doctor. Maybe you just should. Maybe this is the one time that I'm going to say, maybe this industry ain't for you. I'm personally sending this episode to a couple of people who I know should hear this. And I'm telling you, it lit a new fire in me. And listen, I'm telling you, you've just been spending time with myself and Mr. Ernesto Servan, man. I'm telling you, it's your turn. Go out there and be a millionaire car salesman. We'll talk to y'all later. We might even have to have you back with Sean because I know he got some questions. We'll holler at y'all later. Peace out. So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is sponsored in part by Autoweb. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.